All right, so today we'll begin our preparation for Dallas. I'd say just off the bat, this is an extremely talented team. They're playing at a very, very high level. Getting ready for this team is really going to take everything we have on all three sides of the ball. So you start, offensively, and obviously Mike's background is offensively. You can see a large influence of his this year. It's still Kellen calling the plays. There's a large design, from Kellen's offense, and that stretches back even going through his experience with Jason. But you see a lot of the influence right now in terms of how they're playing. The run game's extremely efficient and effective on early downs, staying ahead of the sticks. They're doing a great job on early downs with the short control passing game. Kind of ties a lot back in that West Coast offense with Mike and how he used it in the past. And then, of course, they know how to really tie in shot plays down the field and really create matchups for their players. Doing a really good job right now with Zeke, CeeDee Lamb, Cooper, and those guys, really getting them involved. Schultz has really shown up big in key situations, been a very productive player. I think their offensive line this year is playing at an extremely high level. I think we all know about how talented that line's been over the course of the last decade plus. And they just keep on rolling with those guys. And it's really helping the run game and the pass game. I think you talk about number 4. I mean, obviously Dak's one of the top guys in the league. He's one of the most productive players. He's still a threat with his legs. He's not afraid to run it. But this guy really keeps his eyes downfield. Looks to extend plays really more for the pass than anything else. I think when you talk about their offense, you can go ahead and just spin a wheel. There's a weapon at every turn. So you can't go ahead and focus on one guy. You've got to play good, sound defense as a team and work hard to get them off the field. And that's easier said than done. Defensively, you can see Dan's influence right away. And this team plays fast, they play aggressive, very high effort, and they're having a lot of results with turnovers. And it's a turnover-driven defense. They're having a lot of production, and that really stems from up front, the pass rush and disruption they're getting right there. And they're able to pin their ears back and really get you if they get you behind the sticks right there. When you reference across the board what they're doing, you can say some of the influence from Dan, schematically, but they're doing a lot of different things schematically than what they did when he was in Atlanta or his years to that Seattle system right there. They've got defensive backs who are very talented. The matchup very sticky on you, whether it's playing man or matchup zone. Creates a lot of problems for you with the receivers in terms of having to fight to get open. And then as well, you're struggling to get open, they go ahead with the rush. It's very high stunt percentage, a lot of games up front. They know how to use the movement and get after you. That's something they do very, very well. Right now they're leading the league, I believe, when they're stunning in terms of pressures on the quarterback and results. So that's something we have to be prepared for this week in terms of how they use their front. Look, in the kicking game, I've known Bones for a long time. A lot of respect for this guy. When you talk about Bones, it's about being sound, communicating, knowing how aggressive he's going to call it, how talented they are in the kicking game. They have a very good core. They have extremely talented specialists. You talk about Anger and Zerline, these two big leg kickers and punter who can flip the field position, who can score from far out with field goals. And you talk about the guys with the ball in their hand, the return game, Pollard and CeeDee Lamb. Obviously, these are two of their top offensive players. They're looking for more opportunities to get the ball in their hand right there, and they can make explosive plays at any point. On all three sides of the ball, we got to come prepared. We have to have a good week of preparation. That starts today, and we got to make sure we translate it over into 60 minutes on Sunday. That being said, I'll open up for any questions.
Joe, has Diggs on their back end become a player where you have to identify where he is, or are they kind of playing him off to a side?
I think you got to know where this guy is. He's extremely aggressive. He's been very productive. You don't have the results that he's had by accident. This guy's obviously really taken a step forward as a player this year. Learned from some things in the past, but he's very, very aggressive. He's got great ball skills. He's got great instincts on when to break on the ball, when to undercut the receiver going across the middle. You see that interception he had, against the Chargers. I mean, that was an outstanding play. To play from behind, catch up this guy as he's running away from his leverage, to undercut him, and then lay out and make that interception. That just shows you right there in terms of the instincts, the awareness, playing within the scheme, and just the playmaking ability this guy has right there.
Joe, the way the offense operated in Sunday, especially the fourth quarter and overtime, is that the way you guys can function going forward, where being more aggressive, pushing the ball downfield?
Yeah, as far as our offense approach, really here it's the same on all three sides of the ball. Whatever it's going to take to win a matchup with that opponent, and whatever the flow of the game dictates, that's how we're going to have to play. Obviously, we made some plays, pushing that ball down the field the other day. That was something we saw from their defense. We were able to make plays on. Dan did a good job getting the ball out to the receivers. They did a good job protecting up front to give us the time to get the ball downfield.
You obviously don't call the plays, but what is your role in kind of determining what the offense is going to be, big picture and just week to week?
Yeah, we talk through it continuously, starting on Monday, going through Monday, Tuesday. Today we start the prep. It goes into the install of what's going in. It goes into what's being run on the field, making sure that we're sound in everything we're doing, and then talking collectively in terms of what we're practicing. You always start out with more in practice than you end up with in the game. You got to throw some things against the wall sometimes and say, okay, that one doesn't make the final cut. Maybe we'll come back to that next week if it fits the scheme we're looking for right there. And then within the game, control the flow of the game and how we're doing it, making sure that we're playing what we planned, or as things are being done in the game, that we adjust accordingly.
You've talked about using the early part of the season to kind of figure out what you do well, what your identity is, right? I mean, to when you look at your offense now, what do you view as the identity in that group?
I think the identity of the group right now is I think we're doing a good job protecting up front. Okay, we're doing a good job getting the ball to playmakers in space, letting them make plays with their legs right now. We've been able to be productive in some elements of the run game. I think it's something we got to keep on improving on. In terms of the pass game, I like the way we're setting things up on early downs. We've become more efficient on some third downs right there, and we're executing better situationally. So in terms of our identity, I like the way our guys are taking what's given to them right now. We have to go out there and force plays, go out there and understand what's presented in front of us, what's the defense giving us, what matchup can we create, what zone or man matchup works better for us. And Daniel's doing a good job identifying that pre-snap and making decisions post-snap.
Joe, during the draft, how did you evaluate Micah Parsons as a player, and why did you ultimately decide not to go in that direction?
Well, our decisions for our team was, big picture we thought was best for our team. Him as a player, he's an elite player. This guy's explosive. I think the one thing that I picked up on him, I went to the pro day up to Penn State, and you stand next to him, he's a big man. That's the one thing I told the team today. I said, this guy on tape sometimes doesn't look as big as he is. He's a big guy, and he's strong, and he's explosive. You watch this guy play. He's very athletic. He has really, really good instincts. Obviously they're using him on the edge for some pass rush stuff. He's got the green dot. He's playing the stack right now. Makes plays in both spots right there. This is a guy that coming out, looking at his college tape, he actually had a lot of production on the edge that we looked at him and talked collectively about, hey, this guy really gives you dual value, stack backer to edge backer. He can cover, he can blitz, he can do a lot of things. I think this guy's going to be one of the elite players in the league for a long time. Our decision had nothing to do with his impact as a player. We just made the best decision for the team.
Joe, I know you're cognizant of, trust the process, and, this is a gradual thing. But this is a game against the division rival, and if you win this game, all of a sudden this race, looks different, a lot different than it did only a couple weeks ago. Are you mindful of that?
Yeah, well, this race goes the entire length of 17 weeks, so we're going to make sure that every week we keep taking a step forward, and want to be consistent in how we prepare and make sure we're a better team each week. That's our focus. All the big picture stuff, that'll take care of itself. We can take care of how we prepare today on early downs and third down. Tomorrow we'll show up and work about early down, third down, some of the red area. That's our focus right there. We're going to keep it small and keep it focused.
Joe, when you look at in your experience, we're a young player who's not really 100% proven in the league. Let's say Daniel in this case, when they win a national award, a player of the week kind of thing, can that help a player, his psyche, his confidence, things like that, outside influences helping?
Yeah, I don't think we need outside confirmation to tell us what we're doing. And that's kind of, as a team. When someone gets an award like that, that's a team award. Anytime a quarterback gets an award, that starts with the protection. That starts with the skill players being able to make plays with the ball in their hand. It starts with the defense and the kicking game, giving field position opportunities to get the ball back and make plays. And then obviously what he's done is he's capitalized on the opportunities. And that's what we preach to all of our players. You can't force when the opportunity comes your way, but you have to handle it the right way when it does. He obviously has done that. He's put our team in position to have success. I see him improving every day. In terms of just national awards, improving someone's psyche, look, man, I've seen this guy weather a lot of storms already. Okay, in our short time together, I've seen him weather a lot of storms. So in terms of anything on the outside influence him, if he's going to go ahead and have this make him feel good, what's going to be when it crashes down the other way? This guy does a good job of just making sure he stays focused on what the task at hand is and move forward every week.
It can help. You can feel good, though, right? A player's allowed to feel good about getting something, isn't it? No, human nature. I'm saying, you get an award. Oh, great. I'm not saying it's life-changing, but it's better.
Can you feel good about it? Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy it. Can it affect how you work, prepare, or perform this week? Absolutely not.
Joe, when you look at Lamb and Cooper, some teams have one really good receiver. They have two. So how much of a challenge is that? And then also, schematically, what do you notice about how they're using them and what sort of challenges they pose scheme-wise?
Well, I'd say first off, just talking about the skill players there, you can even go, beyond those two. Gallup's obviously injured right now. I don't know where he's going to be exactly for this week. Schultz is really doing a good job, tight end position. The two backs, these guys. So it's all across the board. In terms of schematically, what they're doing a really good job of right now with all their guys is they're finding creative ways within their base plays of dressing it up and getting the ball out. So every time the ball hits Dak's hand, it looks the same way. The other thing they're doing is you watch a lot of tape, there's obviously a lot of thought put into how they're using 88 Lamb. Whether he's in the backfield, on the short yardage stuff or breaking the huddle fast, getting lined up, using him as a running back. You see him in the Tampa game, they kind of bluff that quick screen to the side and he kind of bluffs and goes. So these are obviously things they put a lot of thought into in terms of a game plan preparation of how do we get him involved, how do we create explosive plays with CeeDee Lamb. And I'd say this guy's extremely talented. Ball in his hand, I don't care if it's punt return, handoff, receiving, whatever it is. This guy is a weapon every time he touches it.
Joe, you said Daniel's weathered a lot of storms. Can you share an example of what you consider a storm that he's weathered?
I'm not going to go into specific details, but look, this kid's pretty mentally tough. So in terms of handling any outside influence, positive or negative. I've seen this guy already just go ahead and come in and be unfazed, unaffected, and make sure he influences the team in the right way internally.
Joe, when you play a team that's aggressive, especially Dallas on defense, how much can you use that against them?
I think every team tries to play aggressive. I think there's different ways you could kind of pose and say, what matchup can we get on a certain player? How do they play? Can we find something to use them? I think it still comes back to the base fundamentals of you can scheme everything up to say we have to isolate this one guy in this one specific coverage or how they're going to play something. But then you got to go back to the whole, soundboard of, hey, look, it's the protection up front. It's how we get the guys out. If they take that away still in that guy, what's the rest of the pattern look like? What's the rest of the run look like? Make sure. So can you try to find a way to scheme guys up? Yeah, we all do that every week. Can you rely solely on that one scheme up or that one play? Absolutely not.
Joe, you mentioned the high stunt percentage. This could be potentially, at least from what we see, that you have your entire offensive line play back-to-back weeks. Advantage for you guys to have that and not having to be moving guys around? I know you have confidence in all the guys, but starting the same 5 this week, presumably, that would be better than not starting.
I mean, look, it's always nice to have some continuity with the guys at the game. The last few weeks, I had new guys coming in every week as far as getting them, acclimated to our systems on the same language and then trying to get them ready for a game at the same time. That's a challenge. But Wes has done a good job of that. Ben did that early in the season. Skur did that early in the season as far as getting ready. Jonathan Harrison coming back the last few weeks, getting ready. I'd say in terms of just, an advantage on it, the advantage is going to go to whoever performs better on Sunday. So we got to do a good job preparing for these guys and account for everything they can do. And things we've seen from other games as well, they're going to show up in this game.
Joe, you had a different speed element at receiver with Ross and with Kadarius playing as much as he did. I'm wondering if you saw on tape looking back or if you expect going forward, does that help clear the box and give Saquon more space when safeties have to be really worried about Ross and Tony going deep?
Yeah, I'd say just a general football answer to that is, if you've got speed that can take the top off, they've got to decide how they want to cover you. Do they trust a guy to lock up man the entire game, the entire field? They have to have safety help over the top. Is it one safety, two safeties? Based on how they see you guys as a threat in the situation of it. Does it help you as far as, kind of lightening up the box? It can. It can. Now, some teams will just turn around and tell their corners, have a nice day, and we're going to load the box anyway. So we'll see how they approach it.
Joe, on Sunday night, Bill Belichick went into the Bucs locker room to talk to Tom for like 20 minutes something after the game. I think a lot of people view that as out of character for him. What do you make of that?
I think when you know the guy, I don't think you see anything like that as out of character. So there's a lot of things you see kind of publicly, guys, and a lot of things you kind of see privately. I've worked for a lot of guys whose maybe public perception doesn't come off great, but privately, you know them, they're some of the best human beings you ever met.
Anything on Sterling and Darius? We expect to see them out there. You think
we'll see them move around a little bit today. We'll see where they're at. I know both guys are kind of pushing to get back, as fast as they can. But we'll have to see them today, and then really Jordan will have to see them tomorrow when the pace comes up a little bit in practice.
You expect them to be in practice in some degree the next few days?
I'm optimistic. Yeah.
Jabril and Ward in the same thing?
He's actually in the same exact thing. CJ will be out here full today. He'll be good to go.